Disney channels, including ESPN and FX, were all shut down, completely blacked out on DirecTV for almost 2 weeks. Well, now in this neck and neck negotiation between the two companies, it sounds like Disney has finally caved and given DirecTV something to crow about. We're going to find out here just what was given up here on That Park Place. Hello, I am Jonas J. Campbell, an investigative reporter for That Park Place, and here with me is Mr. VashSky. Vash, you want to talk some TV?
Oh, absolutely I do. I'm very excited to talk about TV because, this was a situation that had, I think, Jonas, had gone on longer than people predicted. People were thinking, okay, well, they're going to do it on Monday Night Football. They're going to do it here. They're going to do it here in terms of reactivating Disney services and packaging and programming onto DirecTV. But now we finally have a conclusion here. And I think what Disney gave away, Jonas, it's fascinating.
Yeah, I agree with you. Just for anybody who has not been following this, very briefly, Monday Night Football was missed. Obviously, the debate between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump was missed. And even though there were some concessions made here and there, DirecTV ended up accusing Disney of bad faith negotiations and reporting them to the federal government, the FCC specifically. Disney tried to put in a clause that said that DirecTV was not allowed to sue them for anti-competitive actions that they may have taken in the past during this negotiation or in the future. So they were trying to fight to get essentially the legal right to have monopoly protection. But now this story, we're going to go to Deadline, even though everyone is covering this one. Disney and DirecTV reach carriage deal, restoring ABC, ESPN, and other channels in time for college football and Emmys. This by Dade Hayes. Here, Disney and DirecTV have ended their 13-day carriage impasse, restoring ABC and other networks. While the return of linear service will come as a relief to millions of subscribers. By the way, DirecTV was offering $30, I think, discounts to some customers because they were going without for some portion here. While the return of linear service will come as a relief to millions of subscribers, the other terms of the agreement will no doubt catch the attention of the broader media industry as it contends with the complexities of the streaming era. For those of you who don't know what that means, all the other people who are negotiating with Disney in the future are going to be looking at this deal, which is even sweeter, I think, for DirecTV than the Spectrum Charter deal that was just signed. The parties agreed to bring to market multiple genre-specific options for slimmer bundles of channels at lower price points, though no specific prices or proposed channel lineups were mentioned in this morning's press release. The news offerings will span sports, entertainment, kids and family, with packages including Disney's linear networks, along with Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus. Disney's direct-to-consumer streaming services, Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN, will be included in select DirecTV packages under a wholesale agreement and will also be made available on an a la carte basis. So I'm just going to point out here, if I'm just guessing, sports is going to be the 10 ESPN networks, entertainment, probably FX, etc. Kids and family, if I had to guess, is probably going to be the Disney Channel, Disney XD, and Disney Junior. That leaves some channels out in the cold, depending on how Disney offers it. A&E, for instance, I think that would be in the entertainment package, depending on how their deal with Hearst causes them to deal with it here. I'm trying to think what other ones, like Baby TV, that Spectrum was like, we have no interest in this channel. That's probably not included here. There's a question about how many channels will actually be in these packages, but I think if DirecTV is making people pay for them, that's going to have wider implications for the industry at large. Our good friend Valiant Renegade often points out the fact, and this was backed up by Bob Chapek, not like the two of them talk, but that ESPN, there was some argument to be made that ESPN accounted for $10 for every cable subscription here, despite the fact that only 30% of viewers actually watched ESPN. So when Bob Chapek did interviews with CNBC, he pointed out there's 30% who never watch ESPN, and then there's a mid-tier that's about 30% that sometimes watches ESPN, and they only count on that minor 30% on sticking with them whenever they charge what they're planning to charge for ESPN. And we get the feeling that's going to be a lot of money, like cable package type price tag for ESPN. there. Not ESPN Plus, which is, I don't know, what, $10 or something, and struggles a little bit. But I think this is going to have wider implications here.
Well, let's talk about those wider implications here, because this is a very, very fascinating discussion. If we look at the press release that they put out right here, provided by Scott Gustin, thank you, sir, the rights to distribute Disney's upcoming ESPN Flagship direct-to-consumer service upon its launch at no additional cost is going to be part of this deal as well. Now, this isn't the Venu deal. Is that right, Jonas? This is basically ESPN DTC.
Right. This is not Venu, because Venu has been held up in court. So right now Disney is in a tight spot with the Venu deal, because Fubo has sued them in court. This little, $1.6 billion company has held up these $160 billion. They might only be worth $600 million. The last time I checked, it's a teeny tiny company, has held up the Venu sports things by catching Disney and ESPN, Fox, and actual Fox, not Disney Fox, and Warner Brothers in an anti-competitive lawsuit, basically monopoly protection lawsuit. So an injunction has been sustained by the judge here to say that they cannot launch Venu Sports. This is a different streaming service than that. Forgive me if you all are wandering into this issue for the very first time. There is a lot of detail. And these cable carriage deals, there's going to be a lot of details coming out of that trial with Venu, and we're going to try not to bog down every video with it. But no, this is not Venu or ESPN Hulu or Hulu Sports or Spulu, any of those. This is talking about ESPN's flagship streaming service that they have yet to officially name. It's probably going to be ESPN.
Yeah, it probably is, and then it's like, well, I guess that's a different version, a flavor of ESPN, even though it's that's basically the satellite network coming to DTC. Very, very interesting. You talked about the packages themselves and what might be included and what might be excluded. Apparently, DirecTV wanted more initially. If we go to this Bloomberg article right here, Jonas, 20 Questions with Disney's Entertainment Chair, this features an interview with Dana Walden. Like the article mentions, 20 questions, I believe delivered over 2 days. So it's pretty comprehensive right here. If we scroll down, way down, it talks about the DirecTV carriage dispute. And Walden's take on it was, DirecTV highly values these packages of channels and services. When they originally came to us, it was with the goal of creating 6 of these packages, and we ultimately landed on 3. So it looks like DirecTV was a little bit more aggressive here, at least going by Walden's own statements, on getting more packages created so that they could incorporate more of this content that they ended up doing here with Disney.
That's amazing to me. I mean, if I were to theorize, I would say that National Geographic was probably going to be off on its own. FX was probably going to be off on its own. I don't know where Freeform would have fallen in that. I think that Freeform is probably not branded Disney because they know that they struggle in that particular channel with some of the Disney branding. Although I think that's in that brief period where people are saying they don't want to be associated with Disney, and then they come back around to it at the Disney adult phase in Disney's customer base. There's probably some statement there that could be made about that. But I can see why they would do that, or why they might negotiate down to 3 here. And those 3 happen to line up very closely with ESPN Plus, Disney, the brand, and of course, Hulu, which it should be their all-encompassing brand. I'm just going to say it. It should be Hulu with Disney Plus as a premium option on Hulu, but instead they want everything to be attached to that Disney brand, so that Disney essentially means nothing. But whatever.
Indeed. This was the earlier part of the discussion here between Bloomberg and Dana Walden. What are the top priorities in these negotiations? That is with Charter Spectrum or DirecTV or any of the others that come along the way here. Walden says making sure that we are being compensated properly for the level of content and the type of channels and services we deliver into these partnerships. We were the foundational partners with Charter as they were about reinventing their business. That says a lot about how we're viewed. Now we go into this new era with DirecTV as they endeavor to make adjustments to what has been their traditional businesses. They are going to make that shift and go into that next era with one partner first, and that's Disney.
Right. Foundational partners. That sounds like demand moderation. That's a master level spin right there. Spectrum and Charter were the first ones to hold Disney's feet to the fire and say, no, we're not paying for this. You're not raising the prices on us and not giving us something for this. I'm going to go back because we have more to talk about on this. I'm
Please.
just going to go back to this article here for just a second. The agreement also gives DirecTV the rights to distribute Disney's upcoming ESPN Flagship direct-to-consumer service, as Vash referenced just a moment ago, upon its launch at no additional cost to DirecTV customers. The planned rollout of the ESPN service in mid-2025 is expected to be a major event for the media business as it sorts out the new economics of pay TV. The new economics of pay TV. That's a great way to say that right here. So Venu Sports is a great example here because they were initially saying that they wanted, if Venu still happens at this point, and they might give it up because it served its purpose for Disney at this point, and they were the strongest play in that streaming service space. They wanted $43 a month for starters, not for if you locked it in, which indicates to me that they wanted it to be a higher price than $43 a month. It only contained about 45%. Again, only the ones that were held by Warner Brothers, Fox, and ESPN, and would offer no exclusive content. ESPN Flagship is going to be probably more than that because Disney, one, wants it to be viewed as a premium product and also has to justify the exorbitant amount of money that they are paying to the NBA and to the NFL in order to get these streaming rights. The NBA rights, and I'm not saying that Disney is paying all this right now, $80 billion is what the latest NBA valuation is for the rights to stream NBA games across all of their partners here. That is an astronomical rise from what it has been in the past. They all know that live sports is the only thing that people will watch on a regular basis because entertainment, Disney has obviously shown that entertainment is hit or miss depending on who you put underneath you. Sports, there will always be people competing against each other, and there will always be divisions, and that the entertainment builds itself. I'm not saying the production doesn't do anything to add to that. I'm just saying it's a self-cycling of an entertainment product here. And Disney cannot count on their entertainment actually engaging with audiences if they're being realistic. I'm sorry if I offend any Disney producers who happen to be watching this, but right now they have to justify the amount of money that they are paying to the NFL and to the NBA and whoever else, fill in the blank here. And they're going to have to do that through offering a specific product, which is only going to represent 30% of the number of people who would subscribe to cable, the people who are actually interested in ESPN. So we're talking $30 to $50 a month, probably more towards $50 a month for this ESPN streaming service. And DirecTV is basically saying, but if you want a reliable connection here, just stick with cable. So I actually think that this is probably going to cause cable to survive a little bit longer as other cable operators come through and see this. They say, oh, well, we want all of that. And the streaming services will just be what you get along with the other channels that you get.
I would think so. What's going to be interesting here to see with all of these carriage disputes and deals being made over the coming years is, well, do people who have Disney Plus now and are paying a retail price for it, do they just drop it for the wholesale that they already get with their cable subscriptions and packages? That's going to be interesting to see. And we have to assume, Jonas, that with all of these DirecTV consumers coming online with this wholesale price, that maybe the ARPU drops for Disney Plus.
Right. The average revenue per user, for those of you who don't know what that interesting sounding phrase means. And there's a point here right now where Disney needs subscribers, whether or not Wall Street wants to admit it. They are still addicted to subscriber numbers for streaming services. Subscriber growth is what got Disney to $200 a share, back down to what I think it's under 90 the last time I checked for this company. So this provides Disney with a potential pool of up to 11 million subscribers here, not counting the cannibalization of other accounts here. So that is going to be a big boon here. Obviously, there is a $2 a month deal going on right now. If you lock in before the price increase, I'm not trying to advertise for Disney Plus. That's there. If you guys want it, you can just say thank you in the comments. If you were hoping to get 3 months of Disney Plus for $6, just watch out for when they raise it to $10 a month at the end of that subscription period. They're doing everything that they can in order to increase subscriber numbers right now because they need those. Because they just raised their prices by 20%. Or was it 25? Yeah, 25%. So they're trying to make a bet that they won't lose 25% of customers here, and that they can keep the same amount there. It's a long-term game to see if they can raise the amount that they charge people, and that those people will stick around for ads.
Yeah.
This whole situation, it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out when they get to Comcast, who obviously is one of the biggest cable operators in the United States, or to see how this all shakes out as everyone else lines up and said, hey, we saw what you gave to DirecTV, because if we go from Charter Spectrum to DirecTV, it sounds like DirecTV got a little bit more. So if Comcast, and by the way, Brian Roberts, CEO of Comcast, loves to give Bob Iger a very hard time. So I'm thinking he's going to be asking for a little bit more out of Bob here. So who knows? Who knows? Vash, do you have anything you want to add here before we shut this down?
Well, it sounded like Walton was enthusiastic about this deal. We shall see what the ramifications ultimately are. And this is still playing out, folks. I mean, one of the paramount things that was included in this is obviously Hulu. We know that Disney has not worked out their differences with Comcast regarding Hulu. So that's definitely going to play a factor in here. And is Venu going to be part of any of these packages? It's going to be very interesting to see if that service even comes online. And if that is the case, when it does, how that'll all upset the framework here as well.
That's very true. That last 30% of Hulu, there might be a $5 billion check that goes to Comcast here. And if that $5 billion check ends up being valued less, it might be part of the balloon that just you squeeze one end and it makes Brian Roberts even angrier on the other when dealing with this carriage dispute. So who knows? Stay tuned here, of course, to That Park Place if you want to keep up with that. Throw it in the comment section if you got any interesting comments for us here. Like this video if you like this video, and consider subscribing to That Park Place for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Place News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.